In this video, we're going to talk through the Omilia process for building AI applications and AI automation using the Pathfinder toolkit that Omilia has developed. Pathfinder is a fully agentic process that has been developed to solve one of the most common issues that Omilia encounters as we try to automate interactions on behalf of customers. And that's the problem of customers being a little bit uncertain how to start and not always having the necessary experience they need to really succeed in an AI automation process. So how does Pathfinder do this? Well, Pathfinder allows a customer and the AI to program applications using a shared language, using a language that the administrator and the AI are both equal collaborators in. So how does that happen? Well, it's pretty common that a customer comes to Omilia and they say, you know what, I have data that's all over. I have data that's located in a million different places. Sometimes I even have ways of answering customer interactions that are not written down. They're just interactions between different humans in my contact center, right? And I'm trying to find a way to learn in the same way that my agents learn, right? And for the AI to be programmed in the same way that a human would program it. So we do this by allowing the AI to intake training documents and knowledge-based documentation and documents that the same human agents may have access to. A bunch of frequently asked questions, a bunch of guidelines on how to answer certain processes. In addition, we want to have access to the same systems that agents have access to, and ideally to access those systems through things called APIs. So in this case, I've got a various set of definitions for how to get account information, APR information, member information, just high level API definition files. You also can train the AI using dialogues, usually labeled by the Omilia Workforce AI platform. That can be an interesting way to allow the AI to pick up the same level of tone and accuracy that real life human agents use, intuitively or help each other use. But you don't need that information. That's kind of like a nice to have. What we're doing here is ingesting the information that the customer has and using the power of AI to discover on its own. So what the Pathfinder AI is doing here is discovering what can be automated. Here are a bunch of different features or functionalities that Pathfinder has determined based upon the provided information can be automated. It's doing its own discovery. You don't have to do the discovery as an administrator. You can let the AI do its discovery. Now, once the AI has discovered what is possible, like for example, in this case, the AI has identified it could offer interest rate loans. Pathfinder also has the ability to reason. Okay, I'm going to reason out how a loan interest rate request may come through. So the AI may reason that people may say things like, what's the APR for my loan? Or, what interest rate am I being charged on my loan? Right? That may be an opportunity for the AI to understand or to say, hey, it's reasonable for me to assume that this is how a person might ask about, loan and interest rates. Now, at the same time, we want the human and the AI to program using the same language. In fact, to program using simple English instructions. That's one of the benefits of having AI and human kind of using the same interfaces. So as a human administrator, I may also say, you know what, people are always calling in and they're saying, what's the best rate you can give me? So the idea here is, again, always allow a human administrator to kind of coach the AI. And again, to coach it using the same tool set. So in addition to kind of reasoning what words may be used by a customer, the AI can reason how a process flows. It's gotten a lot of information. It's got training documents, it's got API definition files. So it can begin to reason, all right, well, if I got to get annual percentage rates, I'm going to need some information from the person. Maybe I need to get their risk profile. Oh, but if I need their risk profile, I have to get that using their member ID. But if I'm going to get their member ID, I have to get that by submitting date of birth, credit card, social security number. So the AI just reasoned this on its own based on the information that has been provided. So based upon this reasoned discovery, the AI can action. It can take action on that reasoned discovery. So the AI on its own has realized that it could do, a social security number, it can do a credit card, it can do date of birth. It needs to gather these things. These things that it is gathering can be modified or improved upon, again, using a human. Because sometimes the AI understands things, and sometimes a human can coach the AI. This is what programming is in a truly agentic world. So I might know, for example, that a social security number, as far as my company is concerned, is PII. And I also might know that it should be, because it's PRI, encrypt that. Because an AI can understand that social security numbers are sensitive, but it is the company who determines a definition of PII and a data classification that applies to it and puts a policy around that. So as much as the AI can infer things, an administrator can come in and apply the policy that is relevant to the business. For example, a credit card, this is PCI, redact this. And at the same time, as we observe how the AI interacts with a customer, we can begin to coach and modify the process, right? And that's where policies come in. So the whole idea here is AI and human program using the same language so that AI directly assists. So what do I mean? Well, I'm going to open up an application and I'm going to allow this to run in a purely agentic mode, meaning I've never deployed a single self-service. I've just run this toolkit, and we're going to let the AI talk freely to the backend data. So how can I help you? Well, what is my balance? Might be a request that I make. And then based upon asking what the balance is, it says, oh, well, I got to get your date of birth. And I can go ahead and say that's, October 2187 is my date of birth, for example. And then from that, the AI can go through and ask additional questions, right? Could you provide your social security number instead? Now, maybe I know that I don't want to allow a social security number to be stated in clear text. So I have to give the AI a little bit of advice and a little bit of consultation. So in this case, what I might do is go to my account information, my balance inquiry, and I can write a little bit of a policy here, right? I can say always ask for a social security number first. Tell the customer we only need the last 4 digits of the social security number. Again, this is a programming language. It's just programming in English. For once, we didn't have to sit down and open a Python script or open a JavaScript library. I can allow this to happen very naturally, right? So if I go ahead and restart my process here, and again, I have the same conversation that I did before, what is my balance? I can now watch the AI pick up the prompts directly off this programming language, and look how quickly that picks up and adapts. So that's nice, right? Because it saves me a lot of time and a lot of effort. And there are times when you want to directly program something. You don't want to just follow more or less a pattern like this. You want to be very explicit. In this option, we have the Deploy Assets button. So Deploy Assets will take these rules that the AI has discovered and actioned and reasoned out and allow those rules to be deployed into a functional application. So for example, if I jump into this balance inquiry flow that I just created, I'm going to have a series of modules already built. Modules are going to ask questions in a very certain specific order. And that means that rather than having kind of a free discovery process, I do have an option to be much more defined and narrow in our approach. But what's nice is that even inside this narrow defined approach that I'm creating, where I can say first this question, then that service, et cetera, I still have an agentic experience. So what do I mean by that? Well, Omilia realized back in 2019 that there's a lot of repeat work going on in the AI world. And if we are really good about organizing that repeat work, the automation process works better. So in other words, Omilia realized that rather than trying to build a payment process for the banking industry and a payment process for the collection industry and a payment process for the medical industry, we could take these conversations and break them down to their absolute simplest concepts, a truly atomic balance. If you think about atoms, you build the entire world around you using oxygen, carbon, nitrogen. You can't go smaller than oxygen, carbon, nitrogen. You can't build things with electrons and protons. And you can't go any larger. Like you can't make the entire world with water. You need oxygen and hydrogen. There's a balance, something that's just big enough to encompass everything you need, but not so big that you find yourself repeating work. And so Omilia organized wizard-driven AI models called mini apps that are automatically multilingual, automatically multi-channel. You can call them and create them for any kind of use case you want. You can classify them on different kind of data models you want to run as far as security goes. And as this has matured throughout many Omilia deployments, we began to realize that natural idea of a wizard-driven mini app, although it was agentic back in 2019, gets even more powerful if you add in large language models for things like error correction, and automatic prompt generation. So the ability to kind of come through and just automatically get your AI to generate prompts, provide error checking, et cetera, or the ability to come through and classify exactly what it is you're looking for and allowing for things to be said that are unexpected and allowing there to be flexibility in the process. So kind of a perfect balance of building. So the idea here as we're going through and building applications in Omilia is that every organization needs options to pass, compliance in the AI team. Options to determine exactly what should be generative, what should be narrow and defined, what should be a self-service, what is better understood to be a frequently asked question, to be able to kind of see the facts and things that the AI model has learned, to be able to revise and change what the AI model has discovered. Again, human and AI using the same tools to create things. So in this case, domestic and foreign incoming wire transfers cost $15 per transfer, unless you are a premium customer, in which case you get 3 free transfers a month. And the idea here is if I create one central intelligence and I allow that one central intelligence to be used in all of the ways that I've described so far, it's also applicable for things like agent assist. Like all of the intelligence I'm building here is just as useful to the human agents. Like I build this data set based upon the same materials that human agents have learned. And then I turn around and give it to the human agents to remind them, right? Because it has the same knowledge base articles, it has the same self service, it can walk them step by step through a process. And so the Omilia Workforce AI and Agent Assist packages are an active collaboration, in this overall process. And again, you need the option to say, I want generative here, I want deterministic there, because ultimately, what Omilia has observed in a lot of customer deployments is probably 5 or 6 self-services represent maybe 70% of the calling volume. And for that 70% of the calling volume, this toolkit that lets you modify and maximize and tweak and optimize to the absolute nth degree is crazy powerful. And it would be a mistake to throw it out. Instead, what we want to do is enhance it with all of the tooling that is available to us now. But at the same time, there is this overhang, there is this 20, 25%, 30% of interactions that could be any of 50 different kinds of self-service. And maybe there's not enough calling volume to justify a human getting involved in their programming. And maybe it's also kind of a waste of everybody's time if you have to think about all the different things that could happen and try to plan for every outcome and test every outcome. It's crazy. But if I'm allowed the freedom to have an AI model program itself using simple language terms that I can mimic and follow, then I can observe how the AI talks with live users. I can launch faster, launch more accurately, get things working in production more quickly, so that that last 20 to 30% that you're trying to automate becomes easier and easier. And yeah, the AI might not always get that last 20 or 30% of inquiry exactly perfect every time. Then again, neither do your human agents. And if we are all using tools like policies and guardrails and the tool set that we've demonstrated here, the AI can improve in the exact same way a human agent can improve. Better documentation, cleaner access to data, guiding and coaching from a human that is more aware of the context and format and forum around which these conversations take place. So that's the Omilia agentic journey. It, again, feeds automation, it feeds agent assist, it gets information from live customer interactions, it gets information from agent interactions, automated AI interactions, and it continuously learns and reinforces over time, just as any human agent would. It's a true and natural partner to your business.